Coming up on this episode of the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up, we'll chat with Robbie Brady on his return from international duty. We'll catch up with Sean Maguire on his return to match action. And we'll chat with former Player of the Year, Richard Creswell. All that and so much more on the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up. Hello again, welcome back. We've missed you. Did you miss us? Okay, well, that's broke my heart a little bit. However, some of our players were away on international duty, 7 of them to be exact. One of them was Robbie Brady. He was off with the Republic of Ireland and he scored a last-minute winning penalty in their match against Armenia. And that's why we caught up with him on his return here to Exton.
Yeah, it was really good. Enjoyed the week, enjoyed being back in and finished on a win, which was good. We made it hard for ourselves in a space of about 2-3 minutes. Found ourselves 2-2, but lucky enough we got the penalty at the end and we managed to get a win out of it. But I think we were dominant for the game, so I think we deserved a win, but a little bit of sloppiness. It was obviously it was great to be back involved, and to finish with a bit of a high was nice for me personally.
So let's look ahead now to the next game, our trip to Sunderland's Stadium of Light, and we'll look forward by looking back. New Year's Day 2005. I remember it, but only just because I'd had a really good New Year's Eve, and we won 3-2, and Richard Creswell scored a hat-trick. So who better to look forward to the game than Richard Creswell? So we start off, as we like to, by asking him, how are you and what are you up to?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm still involved in football after coaching for 7 years. Academy level, and I had a little dabble at first team level at Sheffield United and York City. I decided to step out of it, to be fair, and set my own company in the agency world. And yeah, I'm enjoying every minute of it. Manage my own time. We've got about 15 players, so we're a small agency. But yeah, loving it and just trying to do the best for the lads and give them the service that they deserve, because as you probably know, there's a lot of sharks out there now. I think there's over 3,000 agents registered, so a lot of them don't have a clue about football doing it. So it's up to people like me to provide a good service for these young players coming through and give them the right advice. And
in terms of young players, your boy doing well at the moment after we saw him a few times with Leeds United and now on loan at Millwall and doing well? Yeah, he's loving every minute, to be fair. He's played a lot of games down there and scored a few goals, and yeah, he's enjoying, the challenge of being down at Millwall away from home, living by himself, growing up a little bit. It's just what he needed, and yeah, he's been away with England the last 2 weeks, so he played 90 minutes for England under 21s against Italy, and he had a good result. So yeah, life's good for him. He just needs to keep going and keep grounded like he will do, and just see where it takes him. Good. And as far as good things, I suppose you would look back at North End as predominantly a good thing. Oh yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I think I was coming from back of 2 previous moves in the Premier League where I was used generally as a sub, coming off the bench and making appearances after appearances from the bench, and it got to a point in my career where I needed to play, and the opportunity at North End obviously arose with David Moyes and assigned me, and it was one of the best times of my career, not just on the pitch but off the pitch. I made some friends for life, and that doesn't happen often. Well, that's good. Is one of them someone who I've just been speaking to maybe as well? Yeah. Brian O'Neill, obviously, we was a close-knit group. It was a team that generally picked itself as a squad, probably around 15, 16 players, and luckily back then we didn't seem to have many injuries. So it was week after week we was playing together. We got to know each other on and off the pitch. We had some really good times, some not so good times, but generally was very close to getting that team to the Premier League, and it still hurts me now that we didn't make that final leap to the promised land. Yeah, you were involved in both finals, weren't you? It seems a million miles away sometimes. I'd like to think that we're on the way back there again at some point soon, but to be within 90 minutes of the Premier League twice and not get there, is it? I mean, it's great to have been there, but you're saying that it was a crushing memory still now for you?
Oh, yeah, crushing, because you're so close to it. There's everything that rides on it. It can change the course of your career. It can change the course of the path of the club. You look what's happened to other clubs that have got through the playoffs, and sometimes you need a little bit of luck. And I don't think we did get that luck, especially in the West Ham game. We beat them home and away in the season, and we went to that game, and there was literally nothing in the game. And it could have gone either way, and it was a slip by Big Claude, which is not his fault. It was just one of them things, and obviously I think it was Zamora slipped it in, if I remember rightly. So yeah, as you can tell, it still lives with me, and it will do forever. But hopefully, I obviously follow it really closely. Two of my kids were born in Preston, and I have affiliation to it, and I love what Ryan's doing at the moment, and it's heading in the right direction. They just need a few more goals, I think, and it's a shame I can't put my boots back on.
Yeah, there's the understatement maybe there. This is probably a good time now then to show you this. So this is in my collection. This is actually from, given that it's Sunderland this weekend, it also seemed quite. This is from the Sunderland match, and there you go.
Happy days.
You can. Do you want it back?
Them oversized shirts, yeah.
It's. I mean, it is. It's huge. You could fit two of me in here, I think.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
But if you ever need it back for anything, I always say if anybody ever gives me a shirt from back in the day, it's always on loan. So as far as I'm concerned, this is yours. So if you ever do want it back, then
no, it's okay. You can keep hold of it. We've got a couple of others.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Sunderland. Yeah, the Sunderland game. If I remember rightly, yeah, we caught them on the counter attack, I think, for one of the goals, and I managed to slip it past the keeper, and then I think the other two might have been set pieces. Because I remember running over to Billy for the third because we'd worked on it all week. I think I managed to skip round the back of the wall. So yeah, it was a nice day that day, getting the hat trick, and yeah, it was. We had a fantastic team, we had so much talent in that group, and there was no big superstars. It was all just hard-working players that wanted to achieve something, and yeah, we achieved getting to the playoff finals and semi-finals, and yeah, it's one of the biggest regrets, like I said, not making that leap to the Premier League.
And we'll hear the rest of the chat with Richard Creswell, crazy to you and me, between now and the end of the show. Did you know it's been 4.5 years since Preston North End played Sunderland, this weekend's opponents, and in that 2-0 win last time out, Sean Maguire scored. And how good was it to see him back on the pitch again in that game against Sheffield United? So we caught up with him to have a chat about that game and to see how he's doing. Shawnee, let's take you back 4.5 years, St Patrick's Day 2018. What are your memories?
4.5 years ago. Time flies when you're having fun, like we just said, but yeah, what I remember from that game was absolutely freezing. I remember Sunderland going through a tough patch at that period in time, and we were doing well. I actually remember Gally had a free kick, whipped it in, I was back stick, little header bottom corner, and then obviously Robbo finished it off. But at the time we were doing quite well. I think it's the only time I played at the Stadium of Light. But as I said, that year was a year where we got close to the playoffs. And when you've just mentioned 4.5 years ago, I actually couldn't believe it. Only felt like a couple of years ago, but yeah, it was great memories. I think that win made us get that extra little bit of belief, didn't it, that this could be the year? Yeah, because I think it was the game before the international break. And then I felt that in that kind of period, a couple of years, I felt that every game after the international break, we kind of tend to go through a sticky patch, in which we did, and that ended up in the season obviously only being 2 points off the playoffs in the end. But yeah, that period in time we were flying. But yeah, it was great memories.
Massive Irish connection with Sunderland, and as you say, the only time that you have played there, but you're well aware of the atmosphere that it can make, and 2,500 travelling North End fans should add to that.
Yeah, it's great. We were talking about earlier, I think we sold 2,000 pretty quickly, and they gave us a couple of hundred more. I've seen they're one of the highest attendances in the whole country, so which is the makings of a great atmosphere. They're doing quite well at the moment. They've some really good players, really good. Obviously, new manager has come in, so it's makings of a really exciting game.
Let's talk about you now. Great to see you back out on the pitch again for that Sheffield United game. How was it?
It was good. Yeah, it took it feels longer when you're injured in pre-season. The boys have gone away on a pre-season camp. I'm here at the training ground, and especially at the new training ground, we've got the big windows in the gym, so all you're doing is looking out with the boys. So what was it, 10, 12 weeks, but I'm out now. I'm feeling fit, I'm feeling ready to go on, and just waiting for that opportunity if that arises at the weekend. Or we have a lot of games coming up, 8 games in October. It's a tight league. I know it's a tight league every single year, but you win one game, you have a good week, and we're at the top end of the table.
Well, you win this game at the weekend, and Sunderland are in 5th. You go level on points with them, and we're 15th.
It's crazy. Like, in reality, we've had an okay start to the season. We've lost 2 games. We've won 2. We've been unbeaten in 8 games, and we've done well. And as I said, we pick up a few wins within a week, and we're at the top. We're looking at the top end of the table.
And you talk about, just coming back to you again, in terms of that rehab. I know at Liverpool and at Man United, that's the sort of thing that they do. And I think that was the design here as well, to sort of keep you hungry, looking out the window.
Yeah.
So what level are you at now? Are you 100% all?
Yeah, well, I've played
just
in
need
the
a bit of match fitness.
Match fitness, like you can do as many training sessions, as many running sessions you can do on the pitch, but when it gets to a match day, it's totally different. I played obviously 60 minutes in the Central League game, which was quite good, and probably in reality I've only maybe played a couple of games since maybe April, so I need maybe that just a few extra minutes to get where I want to be, and I'm feeling good in training and stuff like that. We had a good training week during the international break, which was good for a lot of the boys to get refreshed and ready to go for this big period, really, because I think it's 11 games before the World Cup break, so it's a lot of games, and it's looking where we want to be at the end of the season.
We know that we need goals right now. We've been great at stopping them. How much are you looking forward to the feeling that you will get a game when you hit the back of that?
Look, talking about that year where I've scored at Sunderland last time we played them, that's where I want to get back at. That hunger of getting back where I was that 17-18 season. After that, that's my 2nd and 3rd season at Preston, maybe 4th, where I've done okay, but maybe the last year and a half or so I haven't done as well as I thought. Kind of let opinions where I shouldn't really let it affect me, and kind of doubting myself in a way. But you want to just change that mentality now, and kind of just look forward and let the opinions that matter to me, just focus on the pitch, really.
Well, we always focus on the positives whenever we have a chat. We're team positive over here. And we've got to end on another positive as well. We can't not talk about the Barnet.
Yeah, I think a lot of the boys, and yourself included,
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I feel like I'm a bit more intimidating, really. I think the quiff was kind of like, oh, look at this fella coming on, and they're kind of like, oh, shrugging me off. Well, look, I feel a little bit more intimidating.
So it's the lean, mean Maguire fighting machine.
Don't mind it. The smallest target man in the league.
I like it.
Yeah, don't mind it.
All the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Top man.
Good man. Right, let's get back to our chat with Richard Cresswell. 2 seasons as top scorer, and we voted him our Player of the Year in 2002. And that is where we'll start part 2.
You know what? That was the first time. I got fans player of the year at York when I was young. When I scored 20 odd goals that year, and then I've had a bit of a bumpy road before I got to Preston. Chef Wednesday was off the bench in the Premier League. Leicester, same again. So I knew that it was critical for my career that I needed to get off and running at Preston. And I remember my first game, actually, against Wolves. It was my debut. Came off the bench, and I just wanted to impress, obviously, the fans, but the players that I went in to play with, and I managed to get a goal that day. And I think Kenna scored one at one end, and I scored another at the other end. And ever since that day, I seemed to settle in really quickly. You get the goal, you get the win, and I settled in with the lads, and the lads made me so welcome. And ever since then, that day, I wanted to make it permanent, and I think I went and signed a 4.5-year contract. How
much difference did that make? In terms of, there's always pressure. I get that there's always pressure, but to have that length of contract, did that make a difference too in terms of how quickly you settled in, do you think, or not?
I think it was more of the now. I wanted to impress there, and then them days, they did hand contracts out like that, to be fair, and when they're spending quite a bit of money on you, they wanted to protect themselves. So it was nice to get it, a bit of security, but it was more about impressing in the here and now, because I knew how important it was for me personally to get off to a good start. Obviously, I scored a couple of goals, and we had John Macken, David Healy, we had Mark Rankin, Griggs in midfield that year, and Paul McKenna, obviously, and it was just a great group. I could go through the whole team, to be fair, so I apologise if I've missed anybody out. It was a great atmosphere, a great group, and obviously we got to the playoff final that year, and we got absolutely battered. I think I was on the bench that day. We got battered. We beat Birmingham in the semis, obviously, and we got battered against Bolton, but the next year we just carried on that momentum and kept going, and just missed out. And obviously we got to the playoff final with Billy. It was a great season. We hardly ever got beat at North End. That home form was ridiculous that season. We just knew that we'd go into games. Generally at home, we knew we had a great opportunity to win, and 9 times out of 10 we did.
Towards the start of this conversation, you mentioned goals, and one of your most prolific strike partners away from Preston North End was Ched, who could probably use a goal now. What was he like in his pomp, and has he's still got those goals in him now?
Oh, man. The season what we had at Sheffield United together, it was ridiculous. Ched was scoring week in, week out. I was scoring, to be fair. I think I got 14 goals that season. But I always said to Ched that, if it worked for me, he wouldn't have scored 10 goals, never mind 30 odd goals. So you can tell him that. No, he was a great player, great finisher. He had a lot of momentum then. And I think it's like with any striker, you get one, you get two, and then the momentum comes, and that's what Ched needs this season. And once he gets going on a run, then there'll be no better striker in the league than him, 100%. He
probably does all the graft that you did for him now. He might not be getting the goals just right now, but the work that he puts in is up there now. He seems like a real leader at North End whenever he's on the pitch, and probably off it as well.
Yeah. He's always been a character. His finishing abilities was frightening in training, and obviously when we played together. And he maybe needs to stop doing them channel runs and stay in the box like he used to do all them years ago. So no, he's a great lad, and it will turn. He'll get goals, no doubt about it. The ability's never taken away from you, and he's still got the legs, obviously, to do that. So the team needs goals, and if he gets on a run, then you'll see him. You'll get a few on the bounce.
And just finally, I always like to try and look for the positives, always have done, and certainly with North End, sometimes it's a challenge, sometimes not so much. But just at the moment, it's funny, we go to Sunderland this weekend, who are 5th, we're 15th, and yet if we beat Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, we go level on points with them.
Yeah, I don't think it's time to look at the table at the moment. I think a lot of fans panic a little bit. But like you just said, there's only a few points between the top 6 and the bottom 6. So it'll start settling out around Christmas time, and then we'll generally get an idea. But there's still a long way to go. And the ones with a the calmest mentality, both on and off the pitch, will come through in the end. And yeah, it'd be nice for North End to get a result up there, because they're up and down at the moment. They win one, they lose one of the last 3 games, so they're not on a massive winning streak. It's always a tough place to go. They've got some quality players, but they've got their injury problems as well at the moment. So yeah, hopefully North End can get a result.
So just finally then, I'll leave you with the last word in terms of how you look back at your time at North End and the fans.
Do you know what? I've been back a couple of times, actually. I've took Charlie and my other son Frankie, who were both born in Preston. I've been to a few games, and every time I go back, you know what, it sends little tingles down my back, because it's a place where I scored a lot of goals. I had so many memories, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So we always come back, and I'll keep coming back every year to take in the atmosphere, and yeah, hopefully see North End up there. And no doubt I'll be coming to the game when Millwall play them to see my son play against North End. So that'll be interesting.
Right, hopefully that has whet your appetite for the journey up to Wearside. Don't make that trip if you've not got your tickets yet, because there are no match day sales. So catch up in all the usual places. Go to Preston North End's official website, find the match centre, and all the links are there, including how you can listen on iFollow PNE. Right, last but by certainly no means least, let's catch up with the manager Ryan Lowe and his thoughts on the journey up to the North East.
You know, it's a place where everyone wants to go to Sunderland. You know, the fans are immense, aren't they? They get behind the team. They can also go against the team if they're not doing as well, which is football at times, isn't it? But for us, we're going to go there and enjoy ourselves and express ourselves.
You'll have the backing of 2,500 fans at least as well, and that's remarkable, isn't it?
Brilliant again. I think that the away fans have been solid all season, haven't they? That the numbers they've been going through have been different class, and you know, long may that continue. We need that, especially when you're on your journey. We know the home fans are with us, but on your journeys away from home, you need that, because you know, Sunderland is probably going to be 35,000 there and 2,500 of us, but I'm sure we'll be loud and proud, and hopefully we can send them home with a good result.
Aside from the international lads, who have you got to pick from this weekend? You were hopeful that Ben Woodburn would be back.
All of them, yeah. Ben's been training, he's been fantastic. Yeah, they've all been training really well. There's only young Mike who's with the physio at the moment. He had a little bit of a slight problem with his groin, I think. There's a ductor, yeah. So he's might be with us today. I'm not too sure. We haven't had the numbers in terms of just yet, but he's definitely been doing bits and bobs on the grass. But other than that, we've got a fully fit squad to pick from, which again is a bit of an headache for me to have, and a selection headache. You know, we've got 20, 23, 24 pros in the building, so yeah, it's good.
Just a reminder again, just in case you weren't listening earlier, no tickets on sale for the game against Sunderland. However, the next 4 matches are on sale, starting with Wednesday's visit of West Bromwich Albion. Keep your eyes out on Monday morning as well. Priority tickets go on sale for the journey up the road to see them. You know what I'm talking about. All the details are on the club's official website. That's it. Give my love to Sunderland, and come on, you Whites!